Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. This is your host, Ray. I got a video today from Locke the Bounty Hunter. Please like, comment, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Let's get that chow. It's chow time. Okay, guys. Sorry about the left sound and the right sound. I did make it like that on purpose, but I think it was gonna. I didn't think it was gonna be that big of an issue of making my voice on the left side and then the voice of the video on the right side. I didn't realize it was gonna sound so awkward. My bad, guys. So I made everything the center now, so all the sound should sound very similar. Sorry.
I'll be the one to say it. Situationships aren't fun, but boy, are they entertaining. Yeah, your mind can just really run with them. There's always something to overthink. There's always something to try to dissect. There is always a gray period that you can just really run with. There is something to talk about with friends. There are updates that are so small, but yet you think they mean the entire world to you. Like, this guy can like my post, and I'm like, I think he's ready to commit. I think he wants to
What? Just because he liked your post? Is that how desperate women are?
commit now. That's not true, but boy, is it fun to just lose your pretty little mind over it.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but the idea of being used up by Chad, Tyrone, Raphael, Chang, Wang, Takeda, and Fred doesn't really seem like
I'm a Chang Wang.
doesn't really seem like a fun time to me. If anything, that just sounds like needless mental torture. There's nothing really fun about it. You're obsessing over a guy who's made it abundantly clear that he is not interested in you, save for your musty gunk portal of putrid emptiness. I mean, think about it for a second, sister. You're sitting there monitoring your social media in hopes that he's going to like one of your posts, not even leaving any comments. And him mindlessly clicking a button is somehow interpreted as him actually wanting more to do with you than just some mere bedroom fun.
This shows modern dating right here. Women don't do anything. They just monitor their social media and wait for likes and wait for DMs, and then they'll go from there, right? They don't put in any of the work. They're not going to go DM men. They're not going to go like men's posts.
Hey, I guess you got to turn some lemons into lemonade by pretending that you actually have a chance with this guy. I hate to break it to you, lady, but if that's the bar you're going to set for whether or not a guy's ready to commit to you, well, then I would feel sorry for you, but you keep bringing this on yourself.
It's just kind of fun. I mean, it's silly, but sometimes I like it, and it's all consuming. That's the fun part. That's the fun part. It's that it's all consuming, and you wake up in the middle of the night, and you're getting a little drink of water, you're getting a glass of water, and you're thinking of him, and you're like, what is he thinking of? And you like go on Etsy and try to like buy a TikTok witch spell to like send love to him, and you know, you do some crazy shit during this time, and it's kind of fun, and it's really concerning, but boy, is it fun.
Is it really?
Are you sure?
Oh yeah, I can tell you're just having an endless series of yucks right there, lady. And you are definitely one of the sharper tools in the shed because you're looking on Etsy to find hexes to put on this guy instead of just looking on TikTok where you can get them for free. Even though wasting time wondering whether or not this guy is thinking about you is completely pointless because I can assure you I already know what this guy's thinking about. He's thinking about football statistics, pizza, ribeye steak, whether or not he ever got around to paying.
Guys, I guess the deal's over now, but there was an amazing sale at Vons over ribeye roasts. We got like 2 big old ribeye roasts for about $40 each. We were able to produce almost 10 plus steaks out of them. Woo, what a deal. Love ribeye.
Paying that overdue fee from his elementary school's media center, whether or not he could fist fight a kangaroo if his life ever depended on it, how many city buses it would take to defeat an entire army of monster trucks, not to mention shot puts. He's always thinking about shot puts. He's also thinking about the best places to find quality products at affordable prices. But allow me to put your insecurities to rest, lady. He is most certainly thinking about you when it's 2 a.m. and he doesn't feel like going out to score some strange. And then, sister, it is your moment to shine.
All that I am saying
that is Chad's
that I
moment.
long for the days of the Virgin and the elegance of railway travel.
I recently posted a video that went viral and people are going ape shit in the comments. It was around like painting my nails this color when a guy I was talking to said, oh, you should paint your nails blue because I like blue nails. And mind you, I only had like 2 conversations with him. The fact of the matter is, this is my channel. This is my life. I can talk about whatever I want to talk about. If you don't like it, get off my ceiling, you fan. Stop like fucking commenting. All the girlies are
just because they tell you they like something, you should do something doesn't, I mean, people tell me all stuff all the time. Doesn't mean I do it. Sometimes I take their advice. They're not doing it genuinely to hurt you or any way.
loving it. Sisterhood of the traveling pants are with me. But all the insecure men are triggered.
I don't think any of that's true.
You know what, lady? I wholeheartedly agree with you. It is your channel, and you can post whatever fluff you want on it, just as much as it's your viewers' right to leave whatever they feel like thinking in your comments section.
But thinking that men are triggered? Your nails have nothing to do with us, nor does it even affect us in any way, nor does it really make you that much more attractive. We're probably just saying it so we can have conversation with you.
That's just how the internet works. Just because you feel butthurt over some guy saying that he likes blue nails doesn't mean that he's going to stop leaving.
He didn't even say your nails were ugly or anything. He just said he liked blue nails.
Comments on your videos. The internet doesn't work that way, and you most certainly do not have the power to control what people put in the comments section. Now, I understand where this is coming from. You've been talking to this guy for about 2 days and you thought you saw a future with them, and then he said something that you didn't like. So instead of just ignoring it and moving on with your life, you decided that the most rational thing to do was accuse all men of being insecure and accuse them of being triggered over something as meaningless as your stupid fingernails. But it makes perfect sense when you take 2 seconds to realize that your life is just one gigantic quest for meaningless internet attention, because that's all you got left in your life. So, yeah, you should probably work on that, but we know you never will.
That's funny because it's so true.
We're all the normal people. In my case, I mean like normal guys to date. I feel like I'm just normal. I don't do anything crazy. I'm just like a good person. I like to do fun things. I'm kind. Sure, I have a TikTok or whatever, but like in general, I'm pretty normal. I feel like all my friends growing up were really normal. It's like, where are the normal people? I just want like a normal guy. But everyone seems to have some sort of mega red flag or some like just strange trait that is a turn off to me. I don't know. Like maybe I am too picky. I don't think I am. It's like, where are they? Like, where are you guys?
You have failed conclusively. It's over. And there is nothing that you can do here in this room that can turn that around.
Well, you know, I don't know where you've been looking, sister, because all of the good dudes were hanging out over at Skeeter's house last weekend. So get this, we were just chilling out and watching The Blues Brothers, which is one of the ultimate bro movies, when Skeeter came up with...
Damn, I actually haven't seen The Blues Brothers in so long. It's like 25 plus years almost now.
One of his best ideas yet. You know that scene where Joliet, Jake, and Elwood are trying to perform while behind a cage of chicken wire as drunken cowboys toss beer bottles at them? This inspired us to do something even better. Now, don't get me wrong, Skeeter has plenty of chicken wire. I mean, that stuff has infinite uses, but we're also responsible guys. We recycle the beer bottles to get the deposit money back. So we dusted off Skeeter's old karaoke machine and loaded up on professional grade dodgeballs, and the next thing we know, Ultimate Karaoke was born. So not only are we able to rock out to Bohemian Rhapsody,
you gotta sing and dodge balls at the same time? Sounds like a sport.
We're now able to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge incoming fire while trying to get our fellow brothers to bellow out the lyrics to Sweet Caroline and not have to worry about cleaning up a mess of broken glass afterwards. Now, we were planning on inviting you, but for obvious safety reasons, we decided against it because we all knew that you and Balls make for a combination that's just going to lead to disappointment, broken dreams, and an ungodly amount of pain that no man deserves. We'll get around to apologizing to you later, but for now, we're kind of busy coming up with defensive tactics for Aqualung, because that's the thing about hanging out over at Skeeter's house. You gotta have your priorities.
Men just create weird sports all the time when they hang out with each other. I've seen some weird things nowadays of like freaking soccer, table tennis, and all these other things. Cornhole is now a sport. A lot of weird things came from men's boredom hanging out with each other.
Hell yeah!
The biggest difference between breaking up in your 20s and breaking up in your 30s is that in your 20s, you're likely breaking up because something is wrong. For example, there's either cheating, the relationship is toxic, Breaking up in your 30s, however, it's like, you know, you've learned those lessons from your 20s. So you're like, okay, I know not to like date these type of guys anymore or girls or whatever. And at this point, you're basically fine tuning. You're likely even in a happy, healthy, stable relationship. But then you realize you're like, oh my God, but we want different things in life.
Really?
Well, I'd say that with a
So you got with a Chad. Chad told you some sweet, sweet nothings. And when Chad got what he wanted, he didn't want to commit.
modern woman, the biggest difference between breaking up in your 20s and your 30s is that in your 20s you don't know any better, and in your 30s you do, but you can't help but self-sabotage. You're in this weird area of the doldrums where you think you can still get that perfect man and have that perfect life, even though everything about you is slowly rotting away because you're hitting your expiration date a hell of a lot sooner than you thought. And that's just because you have absolutely no respect for the concept of time management. You have an impossibly idealized version of a man who simply doesn't exist, and if he does exist, he's not going to be interested in you. However, because of the way you were treated back in your 20s, you just merely assume that every single man will still want you, even as you quickly age yourself out of the dating market. You've adopted the same mentality in your 20s that you do in your 30s, that you will always have more time to find a better guy, even though that window is quickly closing on you. But you would rather chase the rush of some type of movie type true love than just accept that there's perfectly good men out there who aren't going to tick all of your boxes.
Or like, you want kids and I don't want kids, or like, we're just so incompatible in these areas, or like, do our core values actually align? It's literally learning the difference between like a good guy / good girl and a good fit. Like, just because they're a good person doesn't mean they're a good fit for you. And arguably, I feel like that is so much harder because it's like, there's not even arguably anything that's that wrong per se, but you're just like, is this something that you can see yourself doing for the rest of your life?
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
Well, it sounds to me like you're already living that life, sister, because you clearly have had more breakups than there are Puppet Master movies.
This is why you can weather Mother Nature, but you can't defeat Father Time.
You're questioning every single minute detail of this relationship, and at this point, you're pretty much looking for an excuse to break up with the guy. You approach relationships with the idea that there will always be a better man waiting for you around the corner, instead of just working with the man who wants to be with you. And if you're hoping...
Like I said, as long as your core values and what you guys want in the future aligns, I don't think that you have to have the same interests. I don't think you have to have the same hobbies. I don't even think you have to enjoy the same shows. As long as you both agree that your main purpose is family, kids, and just to do well with each other, everything else is just a plus.
You're just going to magically meet some guy who not only ticks every single one of your boxes and aligns with you on every single level, but also is interested in being in a relationship with a single woman who's in her 30s, then you're going to be waiting a while. You're putting way too much emphasis on 100% compatibility instead of just finding a guy who will work with you. But I get it. You're in your 30s, but still have the mentality of a 14-year-old girl. But there's no need to fret, sister, because you're well on your way to the wall, where there are plenty of women who act just like you. So don't worry. Right. You're not going to be alone. Well, you are, but you'll at least have a massive echo chamber of women who will listen to you gripe, so I guess that's something.
Yeah, but none of them are going to be at your bedside when you're sick.
Congratulations!
PSA for the men. Here's something that you really do need to know. There is no such thing as a bro code for middle-aged men and older. Sorry. Because you need to know this. As soon as you are out of the picture, your marriage or your relationship, your buddies and bros are going to be hitting on your ex. They absolutely are.
I can see that.
If you've had it happen, chime in here, whether you're male or female. The end of my marriage was a 3 to 4 month downward spiral that my next door neighbor actually eventually noticed. You know, my ex had decided he just needed to take himself off to Florida for the winter. He may, expire. And
I must have missed 60 minutes. What are you saying?
All right, Gertrude, I really don't think it's a smart idea for you to be talking about the bro code when you clearly lack the plumbing or the common sense. Now, we already know your story. You never shut up about it. You divorced your husband so you could go on your healing journey to find your most true and authentic self. Your ex-husband moved to Florida to get away from you and to enjoy some nice weather and be around some good-looking women for once in his life. So, right off the bat, you've already nullified your argument on two different fronts. And all we gotta do is just take one look at your bogus Botox-infested face, and we can already tell that you are incredibly bitter over the fact that your ex-husband is clearly doing better than you, and you can't stand it. And instead of taking accountability and just accepting that you might have made a hasty decision based on an emotional impulse that should have been easily controlled, you're just gonna go ahead and take this opportunity to try to crap on the bro code when Gertrude, you
Dude, we've seen so many videos of this woman. All she does is try to crap on men in every aspect.
clearly have no idea what you're talking about, but to be fair, that's never stopped you before in the past, so...
You know, I think it's funny, like the bro code. It's very similar to the sisterhood. When certain things are there, yeah, the bro code is gonna obviously hold up, but then you got some bros that aren't really bros.
Why start now?
And my neighbor saw that my ex's car was not coming and going during the time, and he starts digging around, and he's calling and texting me, you know, to check in, ask if everything is okay.
No, somebody wants in your pants.
Did I need groceries, stuff like that. It was the middle of the winter, and at first it seemed really nice and genuine. We were on a secluded lane, so it felt safe to know that there's a neighbor that's kind of watching out for me. Eventually, at any rate, I did let him know that the ex and I were splitting and I would be vacating within 2 months. And he goes into full effect. He's sending me flowers. He's sending me cinnamon rolls. He keeps inviting me out to dinner. He's asking...
Are they actually bros? Are they friends in any way, shape, or form?
What I got on my Amazon delivery that day. I mean, like all up in my shit. And he actually continued after I vacated the house, and eventually I had to just block him.
What has that got to do with it?
Gertrude, I think you're forgetting the part about what this has to do with the bro code. You haven't mentioned once about the emotional bond that this guy shared with your ex-husband, so I'm forced to assume that your ex-husband and your neighbor never really talked to each other. And
yeah, I mean, I say hi to my neighbor once in a while, so that's about it. I'm not friends with my neighbors. It's not like I wish it was like back in the day when the neighborhood knew each other, talked to each other, had like neighborhood cookouts and stuff, but things of the past.
Let's just be real for a second here, Gertrude. You would be whistling a different tune if that neighbor was aesthetically attractive. We all know that in the eyes of the modern divorced woman, there's a fine line between a man that's caring and a man that's bothering you, and that line is usually drawn between two factors, and it usually has to do with whether or not he's ripped like a surfer or if he's rich. And judging from the look of embarrassment you have on your face, that guy was clearly neither. So this has nothing to do with the bro code so much as it has to do with you're angry at the fact that men you find attractive aren't hitting on you. You thought that when you were going to get divorced that you would have a line of men around the block who wanted to see you, and the first man who hits on you is your ugly neighbor. And
I think that's exactly what a lot of women think, right? That as soon as they divorce, there's going to be so many men. But why? Because they're married and so many men are hitting them up. So many men are giving them attention. But it's just sexual attention until they realize they're just going to get ran through for the next few years and then start crying on TikTok and on HL Talk That Thoughts channel and all these things about how they regret their divorce.
And you're pissed off about it, which is a shock to exactly none of us, Gertrude.
Fast forward to a few months after I officially split from the ex, one of his friends, his golf buddies, actually messages me on Facebook to ask me out. And I told him, yeah, I'm not dating one of my ex's friends. And he comes back with, to quote, "Don't be silly, we're not friends." Meanwhile,
because they might not be. Just because I go golfing with a guy doesn't make us friends. Like some people are friends of friends, right? When I go golfing, when I do go, I go with one particular friend I know, and then he brings other friends, so they're kind of just acquaintances.
While we'd had dinner with him, we'd gone to charity events with him. We had been to several parties at his house.
Well, you've been to parties with him, you've been to charity events with him. Like, that still doesn't really say that they're friends.
I wonder if my ex got the memo that they weren't friends.
Emotional, damn it!
Gertrude, just because that guy golfed with your ex-husband doesn't mean that they're bros. Point in fact, sometimes guys will hang out in groups where there's always gonna be one or two guys that they don't much care for. But a lot of self-respecting men have enough patience to not let one
There's actually almost always one guy I do not care for.
rotten apple ruin the whole bushel. And if this guy is telling you that he was not friends with your ex-husband, then the bro code doesn't apply here. Because if you got a group of true friends, those guys aren't gonna sneak around a guy's back and sleep with his ex-wife, especially when they are as charming as you, Gertrude. In fact, many of those guys will side with your ex-husband and will see you for the ugly creature that you are. And in the event that they actually are forced to talk to you for whatever reason, they would rather shove their Johnson into a light socket than talk to you. Come to think of it, if anything, what you said just proves that the bro code is stronger than ever, because it just goes to show that even when you're alone and miserable, the true friends of your ex-husbands would rather be alone and sexless than have to deal with you for 5 minutes.
Shout outs to Locke. Give the man some support, some likes, some subs. He's been shadow banned for such a long time now. I don't even see him getting out of this shadow ban. When I think I'm still shadow banned a little bit too, but he's on a different level. Please like, comment, subscribe down below.